Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. I'm joined once again by my co-host Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing all right, dude. I do want to say that it's been a while since I've been excited for a FIFA game or whatever. I guess I don't know fecha FIFA.
I mean, since the World
What's
Cup,
up with you?
I guess.
I know. I get. Yeah. I mean, normally I don't really care about a fecha FIFA. But nowadays, since we have el pot, I'm all about fecha FIFA now.
Yeah, originally we would be like, man, they taking a 2-week break from club, no Tigres, no European football. And
Uh-huh.
we would hate watching it because it would be, Mexico versus like the examples we have this week, right? Suriname or something. Really crappy games, but yeah, it's kind of exciting now having the pod and obviously the new coach. Going to be interesting to see what diegococca does and what the players, if they step up for him and for the team. But yeah, so I mean, today's episode, man, we're going to be previewing eltri's upcoming fixtures versus Suriname and Jamaica in the Nations League, CONCACAF Nations League. Before we really dive right into that, Adrian, where can our listeners find us, man?
Hey, if they want to see our pretty faces, they can find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. If you're okay just listening to our wonderful voices, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other podcast service you use.
Awesome. Yeah, let's get right into it, man. So, diegococca's first match is in charge, man. Take it away. What can we expect? Who? First of all, give us a lineup. The
All
convocados.
right. So, La Cocca-Troka will start the Nations League with, well, as you know, he had like a 36 list of convocados. It was a mix of ligamx players and European Legion players. If I'm not mistaken, on this first game, even though he initially said that he was used nothing but ligamx players for this first game against Suriname, uh, he actually went back and actually had like 4 different European players showing up for this first game. The rest of them will join the national team for the game against Jamaica. Uh, Mostly because most of them were playing until Sunday or even Monday, and all of them are actually traveling right now to Mexico City, which uh, a few of them might not even see diegococca once they get to Mexico City. So it's interesting to see how he's changing. He's going around and changing his way of thinking, but essentially he's going to have 2 different teams for these 2 different games. So for Suriname, he counts with goalkeepers Carlos Acevedo and Jose Antonio Rodriguez. Defenders, he has Nestor Araujo, Kevin Alvarez, Jesús Angulo, Johan Vázquez, Gerardo Arteaga, Gilberto Sepúlveda, Israel Reyes, Julián Araujo. Midfielders, he has Alfonso González, Ponchito González, Carlos Rodríguez, Sebastián Córdoba, el factor Diego Lainez, Fernando El Nene Beltrán, Eric Sánchez, Marcel Ruiz, and Eric El Guti Gutierrez. And lastly, very interesting, because I don't know if you saw some of these reports, but he kept on saying that Henry Martin is now he's gonna be he wants Henry Martin to be the next, I guess, team leader, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he went out on the press and boast Henry Martin and say like he is the image that he wants for the Mexican player. That Henry Martin is like an example of perseverance and all these great stuff. Then he leaves him in Mexico City. He's not going to take him against Suriname. But he's taking El Bebote Jimenez, Roberto de la Rosa from Pachuca, Uriel Antuna, and Roberto El Piojo Alvarado as his forwards. So I think, of course, taking in consideration that you don't have all of the other European players being part of this 22 squad player team, the biggest thing is Henry Martin being out of this game. So that's the one thing that we can probably talk about. That is the most interesting thing before we jump into the formation and the potential lineup for this specific game. What do you think about him leaving Henry Martin out?
Yeah. So it's definitely interesting because, like you said, he was kind of saying that he was going to make him the face. He's coming off a crazy season, right? He scored 11 goals and provided 4 assists and 12 appearances in the Clausura so far. So
Hmm.
it's someone that he met back in Tijuana. And he mentioned that he's a leader on the pitch and that when we need a group of players. And so, yeah, I mean, is there a reason? Has there been said, did he pick up a knock? Did he, or is it just simply, hey, I'm not going to call on you for this one. I want you to be, playing in Azteca versus Jamaica.
So I mean, I've been doing some research, but I have yet to find the answer for this. My think is that he sees these as Mexico B and Mexico A. And I think the team who he's taken to Suriname, he feels that that's going to be the easiest game, so he's taking Mexico B to
Gotcha.
that game. That's why you don't see the likes of Aurelien Pineda, you don't see Irving Lozano, you don't see RJ9, and all those. I would say Class A Mexican players, right?
Yeah.
Nonetheless, you see Bebote here, and actually, if you look at the actual roster, you will see a lot of very young
Right.
players. So I'm assuming two things. He calls these Mexico B, and he also wants to see all of these young players because recently on the latest press he did after the first training with this team, he says that all of a sudden he's changing his discourse and now saying that he wants to lead that cambio generacional in la selección mexicana. So I don't know, man. He needs to make up his mind. I mean, he's making changes at the last minute. So we'll see. I mean, he better not lose this freaking game. Otherwise, I think his tenure with Mexico is gonna be very short.
The shortest in history.
Now,
Um,
I know.
before you move on, real quick, you
Uh huh.
mentioned this Mexico B being kind of the youngsters, the ligamx guys, the ones that still haven't really proved themselves in Europe. Some have, like
Hmm.
Diego El Factor Lainez didn't really prove himself in Europe, but he went to Europe. But
Yeah.
Martin kind of fits in the middle of those, right? Like a year ago, a season ago, you would have not pictured him in the Mexico A as a starter.
Yeah.
But here in Mexico B, he doesn't really qualify either. He's not young; he's 30 years old, and but he
Hmm.
is playing, and the best football that he's played in his life. Do you think
Exactly.
he is ahead of Raúl Jimenez in the pecking order for forward?
I think right now, like if I'm gonna look at the roster, the 36 player roster that he called up for these two games, I think in the pecking order you will have Henry Martin, then Bebote, and then the third string forward is going to be Raul Jimenez. And
Yeah,
not because Raul Jimenez is not playing; he's actually playing consistently. He's getting some good game time with Wolverhampton. Unfortunately, he's not scoring as much as he used to do, and I think he's realizing that Raul Jimenez has seen the best his best year pass him. Right.
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if after this season he comes back to Mexico or he goes to MLS or he goes to a smaller team in Europe. And I think Diego knows that right now, Henry Martin is just on fire, man. I mean, even Bote Jimenez, I'm surprised that Bote Jimenez is still considered to be part of the forward for Mexico B.
right,
But Bote Jimenez is on. It's he's playing at a high level for Eredivisie. He's been scoring pretty much in and out every single game. He's now a starting player for Feyenoord, and he's still the top scorer for Europa League.
right.
So it's yeah, I just think that he's choosing Henry Martin because of his experience. He's choosing Henry Martin because right now he's the biggest symbol of America, which it's the most popular team in Mexico, so it makes sense that he's choosing someone like him to be the face of the team. And then lastly, it doesn't help that Raul Jimenez is not having the best performance of his career yet.
Yeah. Well, man, for this
Mhm.
first game against Suriname, give us your predicted formation, your predicted lineup for Mexico B.
So we know that diegococca normally likes to play with four defenders, four midfielders, and two forwards. Now he doesn't really play with a conservative or conventional 4-4-2. He likes to move around. He sometimes likes to have that flexibility of going from a 4-4-2 to a 5-3-2, or he also likes to play with a diamond where he goes 4-2-2-2. But in this case, I think he's going to go with a regular 4-4-2 at the very beginning with Acevedo as a keeper, which is great news. First cap for Acevedo. So yeah, hands down for diegococca and Colin Acevedo. The defenders I saw around with some pundits and some videos online that Nestor Araujo and Jesus Angulo are going to be the the pair of center backs for this game.
Hmm.
And then very interestingly, he has Gerardo Arteaga playing as a right back and Kevin Alvarez playing as a left back.
Hmm.
It's interesting to see Gerardo Arteaga in Mexico B just because he's very consistent with Genk. He plays every single game of the season. He's in week in, week out. He's always there with Genk. Granted, the Belgium league is not the best one, but he's getting consistent competitive matches in Europe. So I'm still surprised that he considered Gerardo Arteaga to be in Mexico B. I don't know if it's because of his age. I think he's only like 21 or 22. Uh, Midfielders, he has Nene Beltran, who has been, he has had a decent season so far. Eric Sanchez from Pachuca, who definitely must move on to the European soccer after this season is over. Uriel
Hmm.
Antuna, Charlie Rodriguez, and Eric El Guti Gutierrez. And at the top, he will have El Bebote Jimenez. So that's my anticipated formation for Mexico. Actually, not too shabby.
Yeah, for being a Mexico Bay, you got a good mixture of
Uh-huh.
Europeans and players that are playing well in Liga MX. Um, just to clarify, Arteaga is 24, so not the youngest anymore. But like you said,
Gotcha.
I think he's playing well enough in Belgium to be on the A team, and he probably is an A team guy. It just he probably wants some leadership, some experience in there, so as to if things do hit the ground, hit the fan against
I guess so. Yeah.
Suriname, they'll have somebody to experience to count on. Definitely excited to see El Bebote as leading the forward, leading the lines. Um, I
Hmm.
think there's a type of game where you could see him score 1, 2, 3 goals. I mean, you would assume that Mexico would destroy Suriname, especially with this lineup. This is a great lineup. I like that Acevedo's finally getting a chance. We've been calling for him to get a chance for a while now.
Hmm.
He should
He needs
probably
to.
be number one keeper for La Selección. And yeah, man, definitely a good lineup there for sure. I was intrigued when I saw Julian Araujo there. Someone who's not really playing for Barcelona. Obviously, we know his situation over
Yeah.
there. But he's he reported to the camp like 2 or 3 days ago, and it'd be nice to see him get some minutes now that he's had a couple, probably like a little less than a month there in Barcelona. See how he's developing. I heard that he'll probably be getting loaned out next season for a year, just to like another smaller team in La Liga to get experience. But yeah, I definitely a solid squad, man.
Yeah, I know, and the good thing is that you can have five subs, so we're probably gonna see Julian Araujo playing either Suriname or Jamaica. I think he's gonna. I think a lot of the bench players or the ones that I actually don't see any action on this game will join the other Europeans on the game against Jamaica.
Hmm.
But I would definitely like to see Marcel Ruiz join as a sub. I would like to see Ponchito Gonzalez also join as a sub. And I'm excited to see Roberto de la Rosa. Now, Roberto de la Rosa is a very young player. He right now is the starting forward for Pachuca. I think he has a good ceiling as a Mexican forward. So I'm excited to see if he gets some minutes.
Cool. Yeah. So that first game in Suriname will take place at Flora Stadium. It's an away game. Let's talk about the second matchup here. That's going to be in Estadio Azteca versus Jamaica.
Hmm.
As you said, it might be a completely different roster here. Mexico A.
It might.
Um, so that list hasn't really been released yet, but it's kind of everything's kind of pointing to those Europeans joining for this matchup.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much going to be the case. Also on top of, I guess not on top of, in addition to those European players, have some players like Hector Moreno, Jesus Gallardo, who got called up, but they're not playing on the first game. Uh, I don't really know if because he's trying to keep a solid basis from the last World Cup as together as possible because most of these with exception of Orbelin Pineda, actually went to Qatar 2022. Um, so as you said, the roster for this game hasn't been released yet. There's definitely going to be some changes, especially with bench players. I don't expect to see Tony Rodriguez on the roster for this game. Acevedo most likely is going to take the second string spot, and Ochoa most likely will be the starting keeper. We're going to see Cesar Montes come in, Hector Moreno, Jesus Gallardo, Jorge Sanchez. From the midfield, we're going to see Orbelin Pineda. And strikers, we're going to see RJ9 and Chucky Lozano. So funny thing is that Ochoa, I don't know if you saw this news, but Ochoa, I think he missed or lost. Either way, he didn't manage to leave Italy on time. So and I was reading something like he had the either he lost his flight and he had to catch another one, and that other flight had to be had to make an emergency stop somewhere, something along those lines. So he's that's the reason why he's not making it to Suriname. I believe he was slated to be part of that team to join them. Not sure if he was going to start or not, but I think that's the reason why he will not join Mexico with Suriname, and Acevedo will take his spot. But it's just one of those things that is just I think it's funny that he
Yeah,
lost
dude.
his flight and he's not.
I swear there's always something that happens with la selección mexicana. Like it can never go perfect. Like yeah, apparently his plane
No.
activated the alarm system due to a mechanical failure, and they had to like turn around and freaking landed emergency in Mallorca or something. So
Uh
like
huh.
yeah, that only happens to Mexico players. Oh my god, that's
I
funny.
know,
Yeah.
and I also well, and then on top of in addition to Orbelin Pineda as a midfielder, you have Edson Alvarez, of course, who will join Mexico for the game against Jamaica. Also, another thing that I want to mention is it looks like La Selección Mexicana figured out that there's a direct flight from Amsterdam to Suriname, to the capital of Suriname, and they decided to have only Bebote and I think Eric Gutierrez to fly directly from Amsterdam all the way to Suriname, and then have Edson Alvarez and Jorge Sanchez go directly to Mexico City and train at the Centro de Alto Rendimiento over there. So I am not too sure why he changed his mind at the very end. Again, I think he's just thinking of Mexico A, Mexico B. I don't really know. I don't really care. He needs to win both games. He has competitive teams on both situations. If we look at the formation for the Jamaica game, I think it's going to be the same thing, 4-4-2. I think in this specific situation, he's going to play with four defenders, two center midfielders, two wingers, and two attackers. We all know that he likes to play with two strikers. So I think there could be some variation on the way that he lines up. I think definitely Jorge Sanchez is going to be the right back for that game. I hope to see Cesar Montes and Johan Vasquez as the team of center backs, and then I think Jesus Gallardo is still owning that left back position. Which again, I think Gerardo Ortega, it's time for Gerardo Ortega to take that spot, but it isn't. It is a fact that Jesus Gallardo is having an amazing uh, clausura with Rayados right now. So I
Mhm.
think Gallardo's going to be taking that starting position. Then of course you're gonna have Edson Alvarez and Luis Chavez as central midfielders holding the ball over there. And here is where I see some small changes. Either we're gonna see Orbelin Pineda as a right wing for sure, and we can either see Alfonso Gonzalez or Chucky Lozano as the right wings. If we see Chucky Lozano as a right wing, we can definitely see Henry Martin and RJ9, I think, as the two strikers. And I feel that RJ9 is going to be, playing as the post to get the balls from the air, getting them to the ground, and passing them towards Henry Martin. But if that isn't the case, I think we'll see Orolin Pineda, Ponchito Gonzalez, and then Henry Martin and Chucky Lozano as the strikers for the game against Jamaica. So again, I think all in all, we like to criticize la selección mexicana a lot, but he has two good competitive teams, if you ask me.
Yeah, definitely a good A and a good B team, man. A lot of talent, a lot
Hmm.
of young talent, a lot of talent playing in Europe.
Yes.
I'm really excited to see the center back formation of Cesar Montes and Johan Vasquez. I don't think we've seen them play together a lot, if
Oh.
any, for La Selección.
Hmm.
So two young guys killing it in Europe. So that man, that could be a partnership for Mexico for 10 years. I mean, they're young,
Definitely.
so
And
that's
it's their call ups and playing as a startings is coming at a good point, because both of them are starting with their teams, and both of them have had at least very good, decent to very good games in the last month and a half. So
yeah.
I am excited to see them as well.
And it's always important to build, such an important center back relationship pairing. The sooner the better, right?
Hmm.
Like, I mean, the World Cup's in 3 years, 3.5 years, probably even less than that now. So, I mean, if they're able to play this whole, they don't have qualification process, obviously, but they're able to play Nations League, Copa Oro, Copa America as those two guys are not change a
Hmm.
lot. That'll definitely build up confidence going into the next World Cup. Man, definitely two crazy good squads. The only thing they're really missing, I think, is maybe just a. I mean, they have Henry Martin as a hot number 9 right now, right? But they
Hmm.
always usually had Raul Jimenez when he was hot, or Chicharito when he was hot, or
Hmm.
going back even Borghetti or whatever. But Henry Martin, he's killing it. So let's hope he can be the forward that carries this flag.
Look, I mean, he's been on fire for the last year and a half. He definitely deserves to going to Qatar. I think this call up, it's good. I kind of sort of understand the reason why Diego is calling him the next face of La Selección Mexicana. And then on top of that, dude, it looks like Henry Martin's mentor is Cuauhtemoc Blanco.
Oh,
So yeah, I
that's
know.
good.
I know it's good. It's good. It's been a while since we had a player with the characteristics, or I guess with the personality of
Yeah,
Cuauhtemoc Blanco. Not that Henry Martin has it, but he definitely embodies that symbolism of the Mexican player, um, and that mysticism that
yeah.
someone from America must have.
I wonder we'll see a Guatemala out there in the field.
Well,
Um,
I don't know if you saw the last game against America versus Chivas, but this guy scored and he celebrated as Cuauhtemoc Blanco when he did the doggy peeing.
all right. I
Yeah, he
think I
did that,
missed
dude.
that.
So
That's
he was
hilarious.
all over the social. Yeah, he was all over social media, and people were going crazy about it. Some people calling him, nasty. Some people, glorifying him and whatnot. I just thought it was fucking hilarious, dude.
Man, they destroyed Chivas, dude. What a game.
Yeah, they did big time, man.
Thankfully, that was the
Hmm.
only Clasico we watched this weekend, so no other comments.
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
I don't think there was any other
Whatever.
football on. All right, man. So before we wrap it up here, give us your score predictions for the both for Jamaica or for Suriname and then for Jamaica.
I think Suriname should be a walk in the park. But this is just me. This is just me being arrogant. I think they're gonna win like 3-0, 4-0, easy walk in the park. As far as Jamaica goes, I think this is gonna be like a 3-1 situation. Maybe more. I'm leaning towards more a 2-1 situation where they might come back from trailing 1-0 at the halftime. That's how I feel. What about you?
I see kind of a 4-1 against Suriname, a dumb goal, a mistake, or something that leads to a Suriname goal when it doesn't mean anything else. It's probably like 3-0 at that point. And then I see a 2-0 win for Mexico against Jamaica. They're just going to be, they'll be winning 2-0 probably by the 50th minute, and then they'll just control the rest of the match. I mean, they have too much experience to really not, no excuses, right? um,
Say, well, we're gonna have the we're gonna have the 6 things we learned, and we're gonna be wearing freaking clown noses.
yeah, if Mexico loses any of those matches, we'll put some clown noses on for sure. But yeah, good
Oh,
reminder
dude.
there. Make sure if you guys follow us here on Puro Pinche Gol, we're gonna have our recap episode after the the second match against Jamaica. We'll be recapping both the Jamaica match and the Suriname match with 6 things we learned. If you haven't checked out any of our 6 things we learned series, it's a series we do after every USA or every Mexico match, where we pretty much cover 6 key points, positive or negative or neutral, that we kind of saw in the matches, and kind of highlight those points and what we learned from the matches. So be sure to follow us and check that out. Adrian, before we take off, man, where can our listeners find us?
Once again, they can find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. And lastly, they can find us at Puro Pinche Gol on Twitter and Instagram. We post some stuff every now and then.
Yes, sir. Make sure y'all follow us. And Adrian, always a pleasure with you, man. We'll see you in the next one, brother.
Take it easy, bro.
See ya.